Ooh, yeah. Ooh la la. Ooh, yeah, I think I'm live, guys. Let me check this out. Let me go over here to my trusty iPad. Somebody pass me my iPad. Even though I'm passing it to myself. Somebody pass me my iPad. Ooh, yeah, we on. So I'm gonna get some people out, some notifications out, try to get a couple of people in here. Like swimwear, in there like swimwear, like chin hair, like chin hair, chin hairy hair, chin haireth. You dig? Let me see what we could do. Got some things I want to talk about today. Now, ooh, let me turn down my phone. Got my text message on. No notifications, pop-ups. But then goes away. Okay, check me out now. I'm here. What's going on with you guys? What is going on? What's the word? Chicken bird. What's the word, chicken bird? I didn't go down to the station today. I wanted to try out this new place. We're doing a podcast studio, and I like it here. I like the element. I like the feel of it, and you got to do things sometimes. So we got some things that we're going to talk about today. Betty Boo, what's going on with you? I see you. Hey, you guys, so look, I got some stuff that I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the things that we have been seeing in the streets. I'm talking about these mean streets, the streets of Portland, Wisconsin. Talk about some of these things. I also got a question. I want to ask you guys this. What do you guys think about publicly humiliating your children for discipline? What you guys think about that? What do you guys think about? I saw a video. I think it was a mom and a stepdad, and they were going ham on their daughter, right? And in public. And it's making me wonder, is this the way to do things? I've seen it done quite a few times too, to where it's like, well, is that helping or is that hurting? So yeah, you guys, I definitely want to talk about that. I want to chop it up. If you guys get a chance, when you come in, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit subscribe. We're about to go in. Like I said, it's a new place today. It was raining so hard. I was here at the podcast studio before. I was like, well, I'm going to go down to the station, but it's raining so hard. You know what? Let's just do it right here. So we just gonna do it right here today. What's going on with you guys? Betty Boos, what you doing? What you making for dinner tonight? Is that what people do on Friday nights? Do people make dinner on Friday night? My mom used to buy pizza and make us eat vegetables with the pizza. That was our Friday night ritual. You know what I mean? So here, I'm gonna tell people to tap in over here on the books. We're going to go ahead and get into it. What do you guys think about that? What's going on with Bob Woodward? Donald Trump on the phone with the journalist who is known for taking down presidents, Bob Woodward, deep throat. And that is not a sexual reference. Deep throat, talking about Richard Nixon. You know, breaking into the office, all that old stuff. But Richard Nixon, Bob Woodward, was a reporter that was instrumental in taking down Richard Nixon. Take down Richard Nixon. This is what he's known for. He's called the president slayer. And then you get Donald Trump get on the phone with the president slayer and start running his mouth. That is literally like leaving your phone unlocked after sleeping with Superhead or Cat Stacks or something like that. It's like, that is literally talking to someone who you know doesn't have your best interest in mind, that's going to tell on every negative thing you do, but then he does it. And it makes me wonder, like, man, why would you do that? Is that bombast? Do you think you're just too good? Do you think you're above reproach? And that's what it made me wonder. I'm like, man, this dude is crazy. He out here, he's telling a known snitch. He is telling a known snitch about things that he's doing wrong. I'm saying, well, Donald, how good is that going to do you? Why would you do yourself like that? I don't understand. It almost feels as if, again, we were talking about it last night on Sticks and Shit Talk. It's almost like he doesn't want to be president, maybe, Or I think that he's just so pompous, he don't think it matters. What did he say? I could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and it wouldn't mean nothing. So I'm going to talk about that. I also want to talk about, don't think I'm going to go too far away from this. I want to talk about Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris was also, she was doing an event. It was a black business event for black business owners, right? And in this event, if I'm not mistaken, I think she wore some Chuck Taylors too. I think she wore some Chucks, if I'm not mistaken. If anybody know about that, let me know. I think she wore some Chucks. But at this event, it was for black businesses. Do you know what she didn't mention not one time? do you know what she failed to mention every single time? Every time her mouth opened and air came out, she said something. But she never said black businesses. She said minority businesses. She said woman businesses. And again, I understand when we talk about candidates, sometimes we'll say, well, they got to be the president of all people. Well, women are not all people. Minorities are not all people. So I don't understand the apprehension in saying black businesses. But the funny part about it is at the end, the moderator or the host or whoever the guy was, the young chap, the young fellow, the young chap, whoever he was, at the end he said, well, and Donald Trump doesn't communicate with the people. And we're so glad that, and I'm paraphrasing, this isn't word for word, don't sue me, this isn't verbatim, this is not verbatim. Again, if you're coming in, hit that button, hit the like button, whatever. But he said Donald Trump won't communicate with the people, he won't talk to black business owners, and I'm so glad that we have someone here who really cares. I'm so glad that we have someone here that is going to communicate with the people. And then he said, Kamala, here, you want to take some questions from the audience? Kamala was like, nope. And then her handler did the same thing that happened with Charlemagne and Joe Biden. They were like, no, we're done. Yep, we're out of here. And they were being so condescending to where it was like, well, who else do they do that to? Like super condescending. If you haven't seen it, I suggest you go look at it. So those are the things that I want to talk about off the board, off the dribble, right? So I want to start right there. Public discipline of your children online. What do you guys think about that? What do you think about that? I think when it comes to disciplining your children, I don't think that you should do it from an angry point of view or from an angry, I don't want to say point of view. You know what I mean? I don't think you should be angry. You shouldn't be boiling inside. You know, I think that's when you push the line on abuse. when you're boiling inside, you're just angry. You know, I hate this kid, and you just just punch him. That's abuse. That's abuse. I'm sorry. Somebody's going to call CPS on you, Child Protective Services, and they might come and get you. But no, so when we see these things, like we see the little girl, we see her parents going off on her and they're publicly shaming her online. I remember seeing something like that a few years ago as well, and it's made me think about it even then, and seeing it now is reigniting these thoughts. What do you guys think about that? What do you think about that, Betty Boos? I see it's a couple people in here. What you guys think about that? Can you guys hear me clearly? Can you hear me clearly? Just the first time in podcasting here, just getting everything fine-tuned. Can you guys hear me? Let me know that, because I'm going to ask you about these bad kids. Your kid been home with you, and now you're schooling them. You're teaching them at home. They're doing homeschool. Is your kid bad? When your kid do something bad, do you publicly humiliate them on the internet? Do you guys think that that's a good thing, a bad thing? Oh, loud and clear. Thank you, Betty Boos. Thank you, Betty Boos. The other 5 people in here, forget y'all. Not saying nothing. But so what do you guys think? I think that could do long-term damage to the child psychologically. And at the same time, I'm going to keep it real. I think a lot of people doing things now for clout, even if it's embarrassing your kid. Why would you embarrass your kid and put it out there on the internet? I mean, to me, it seems like you're doing it for likes. Now, I know back in the day, we go to the store, my mom be like, boy, you better not touch nothing. I get you right here. But then I wouldn't say they were empty threats because she meant it. But at the same time, there was no internet. There was no internet. And so if I was to get in trouble right there, that would be between me, my mother, and the people at the store. Now, it gets all over the world in a millisecond, right? And so we talk about bullying and we talk about stuff like that. That's going to cause the kid to get bullied more when they go to school or when they doing what they do. Look, school. My daughter was in class the other day. You know, everybody's in class at home, and there was a little boy asleep in a Zoom meeting. Sleep. Knocked out in a Zoom meeting. And to ditch school now, all you got to do is turn off your camera. I guess he was so tired he forgot to turn off his camera. But let's see. Imagine his mother publicly humiliating him. What do you guys think the effects of that are? I mean, I hear some people say, well, nowadays these kids don't have no shame. So what do you think? Do you think that shaming the child or shaming a kid is good? I don't necessarily think it's good. I think it's a bad thing. And especially when you're doing it with anger in your heart. And when you put it online, those things don't go nowhere. You could delete it, but that doesn't mean it's gone. You know, we got the cloud, and then I'm sure these companies save things. You know, that's what they're in it for, data. So they're going to save things and keep it, and then you get people want to screenshot and record stuff. So now, not only did you discipline your child, now it's become viral. So now your child's the laughing stock. And so you have one desired effect, but you end up getting something else. And even about the desired effect, I wonder what desired effect is that? So if you embarrass your children in public on the internet and you discipline your children on the internet, what is the response that you want to get? What is the response? Did you make your kid hate you? Make your kid get beat up at school even more? And then I get it. Sometimes, you know, they're trying to like prove a point. Okay, look, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make sure everybody sees it. You want to act out in public, I'm going to discipline you in public. So I see that side of it. I just don't know if it's healthy. I don't know if it's healthy. Me personally, I might threaten my kids that I'm going to do something to them online. Boy, don't let me catch you again. I'm going to put you online. But at the same time, that's almost like bullying your kids. You know what I mean? So let me know what you think. What you say? You say, Betty Boo, right here with my friends in these YouTube streets. In the streets. So yeah, you guys. So what do you think, Betty Boo? Publicly humiliating your child on the internet as a form of discipline. Is that what you do? Do you publicly humiliate your child? Look, I'm not passing judgment, and I'm not calling CPS on you unless you punch them, pow. Unless you just outright punch them. But yeah, you guys, so that's what I've been trying to figure out. And I think a lot of people do things nowadays for clout. People want to be seen. And it doesn't matter how they get it, even if it's at the expense or the detriment of your own child. Come on, you got to think about it. When these people are disciplining their children on the internet, you don't think it run across their mind like, oh, this may become viral. I mean, they're damn sure not doing it so nobody sees it. That's like me. That's like me saying I'm doing this show right here live on the internet, on the tubes, because I don't want nobody to see it. What kind of logic is that? That defies logic, right? Defies logic, clearly. And so if you're doing that, you obviously know that you're going to get some type of views. So what I wonder is when people do that, is that something that's prevalent on their mind? Ooh, not only am I going to embarrass my child, I'm going to be internet famous for the day. I'm going to be internet famous. Real talk. That's what I want to know. So yeah, you guys, let me know what you think about that. Something else I want to talk about, these protests in the streets. Black Lives Matter. We got the Patriot prayers. We have Antifa. And I know there's a lot of people that want to act like Antifa don't exist. Wink, wink. All right? We'll act together. So we got Antifa, we got like the Proud Boys, and so we have these different groups. So I have been doing these different, I've been uploading different videos on the YouTube, because I want to see what people like, what people pay attention to, to kind of get a pulse of what people are viewing. And the things that actually do most is the battle royale. Black Lives Matter and Antifa versus the Proud Boys and groups like Patriot Prayer. Now, what we're seeing here, in my very humble opinion, we are seeing the clash of far right and far left. Now, this is something that I've spoken about in the past, and I'm going to speak about it again. Now, we could go back and look at the Chaz Zone, and that's more of a far left thing. And then we could go, and if you want to see the far right, just go to like an abortion clinic. Look across the street, and you're going to see the far right. These are where these two groups normally go to battle. They normally go to battle over wedge issues, okay? LGBTQIEGOC versus Christian right. You'll see, they're always wedge issues. The left wants to abolish ICE. The far right wants to deport everybody who isn't cutting their grass specifically. And these are the type of things that they are battling over and clashing over. And what I find funny is it's now as if it's a brand new thing. And I've done a lot of research, and I've went back and I've studied and I've looked at this. Man, these guys were fighting in the streets in 2017, 2018 over the same things, except they weren't saying Black Lives Matter. Okay, so Antifa's been around for a while. The first time I remember Antifa was Occupy Wall Street. Remember when windows started getting busted open and everybody started losing their mind? See, that didn't have anything to do with Black Lives Matter. These are ideologies that are at clash. Is it the old world versus the new world, or people who are heavy into socialism versus people that are heavily invested in the current system that we have now? You see what I mean? It's a battle of ideologies, and for one reason or another, it's bringing people in as if it's a battle of race. Now, the funny part about it is that, like, I'm going to go back to the stories the videos that I posted. So I posted these videos, and in the videos, the first video was Rochester, New York. Rochester, New York, it's a restaurant. And it looked like people were in there eating their food and having a wonderful day. And, how is your tea and crumpets? Mighty lovely. And all of a sudden, you get Black Lives Matter again. They come in thick. They come in thicker than a frozen Snicker. So they get in there and they're yelling and they're screaming and they're throwing stuff. Windows are being broke. Literally, they're taking people's silverware and glasses off their plate, throwing them on the ground, just causing hay. And I'll be honest with you guys, I'm black as could be. Look at me. I do not understand the positivity in what they're doing, and I don't understand what good is going to come out of it. If you have a particular problem with people. And so it just seems like a whole bunch of organized, it's actually organized chaos, in my opinion. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm saying, and it literally doesn't make any sense. And I always ask people, well, how does this in particular help black people? Now, I can see if you were doing that, your legislator, you find your legislator or the rep for your neighborhood or your congressional member eating dinner. I can see destroying their dinner because you're trying to prove a point. But Molly McLevin from up the street, who has nothing to do with anything, maybe not even in politics, and maybe fully agree with you, I don't see the positivity or how it helps to destroy that person's meal. So anyway, that particular video did good. It did good. The videos that I do, I'll upload a video. It might get 20 people. This video I think got in the thousands, 3,500, 4,500, something like that. So then on the flip side, the next day, I put up a video of, I think it's the Proud Boys. But it's obviously a right wing group, and the right wing group was chasing down two guys from Black Lives Matter. And then, isn't that funny how these things sound like gang wars, like Bloods and Crips? He chased down the dude from Hoover, you know? But either way it goes, so they chased him down, and the first guy, they got him and they was beating him up. Boop, 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 boop. And then they got to the second guy and they got him on the ground and was hitting him, or about to, and then the police came and wrestled the guy off. The guy that got pulled off, was one of the guys on the far right. Now, the story is being told that they did something to initiate it. The Black Lives Matter guys did something to initiate it, and then the guys on the right got mad, started chasing them down. In fact, there was one guy, he was on the ground, and he was getting beat up. And the lady said, "See, I told you I'll get you back. I told you I'll get you back." And then she pulled out some pepper spray and started spraying him with the pepper spray. And he was like, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry." Yes, I'm laughing. It was funny. It was funny. I'm sorry. So he was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry." Then they chased down the next dude. All right. And so that video did even better. I think that's 13, 14,000 views. And for me, that's great. You know, I didn't have nothing to do with it. I just was showing what was going on. But I find that people are very interested in this topic, even though there's a lot of people who don't know what's going on. They're not getting the full breadth of it. It's either one side or the other. I notice I'm an independent. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I could care less. My political stance is I'm going to do what is best for the people around me, for my family, for my friends, for my community, for me. I don't listen to everything that's told to me. I listen to what's actually said and I watch what's actually done, right? And so with that being my personal ideology, I can see things on both sides, all right? And what we are getting here is oh man. Okay, so I want to separate something real quick. When we talk about protests, they'll say, for example, CNN will say, protesters were attacked. And Fox will say, vandals running the streets. And we're getting things mixed up. There are people that are protesting, and there are vandals running the streets. And so I think it does a disservice to try to make it like it's all one group. So if somebody goes out and they're protesting, you know, whatever their predilection is, whatever it is that they feel is worth protesting, they'll be out there peacefully protesting. Now, if you have a group of people that peel off or meet somewhere and they decide they want to just start breaking windows and burning stuff and things of that nature, I don't think you should call them a protester because they're not part of the protest. They are literally there to cause trouble. Literally there to cause trouble. And those people who are there to cause trouble, see, what we forget sometimes is there's a balance to everything. There's an ebb and flow. Every action is going to get an equal or greater reaction. And so when we are looking at things like this, and this is America, so we always know that you're going to have people that are very patriotic. The soil, the land, you know, I love it. And then we're going to have people that I hate it here. But what's going to happen is those two groups are going to eventually clash because they're rubbing each other the wrong way. And so it was months ago when I started seeing stuff get burned down. And again, when I'm talking about burning stuff down, I'll be honest, be strategic. If you want to burn down something, make sure that it's somebody that's affecting you and not somebody that may be for you, because you end up turning that person against you and then you lose your numbers. So when you see things getting burned down in the city and, you know, different blocks and businesses and windows are getting busted out, and you're doing it, and it seems what some people would call anti-American, what that is going to do is bring out the pro-American patriots that some people might call themselves, and that's going to be a clash. Now, This clash didn't just start. This clash has been going on since America was founded. In fact, that's part of the reason they separated from England, right? Different ideologies. And as you grow with people, you get different ideologies. But now it seems like it's Black Lives Matter versus the far right. But every time I see it, it's a whole bunch of white kids. It's a whole bunch of white kids. And it's also something that I have been learning is sometimes, and you guys let me know what you think. Sometimes I think we equate things to race, and sometimes they do have things to do with race. But when we are looking at this battle of ideologies, I don't see, and again, on these videos, when it was the guys on the far right chasing down the guys on the far left, they were all white guys. And when the guys on the far right caught up with them, they didn't take it easy on them because they were white guys. So I'm saying, is ideology that thick? Is ideology that thick? And are we looking at things from a racial lens when they're not always a racial lens? Because I'll be honest with you, I never thought that I would see the days where different groups of white people are fighting each other, literally in the streets. Now, I understand that people throw the word or the phrase Black Lives Matter in there, but again, this was already going on before Black Lives Matter. So again, if you in here, go ahead, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, do something like that, do something like that, do something like that. Let me see, what you say, Betty Boos? You say, the parents get no respect from me. All right. Look, like I said, I understand everybody has different ways of parenting, going back to the last topic, but that's not something that I would do to my child. Put it to you like that. I'm pretty sure that I'm capable of disciplining my child without having my kids get bullied for the next couple months because of it. That's what I think. And so I'm going to get back to these videos that I posted. So you definitely end up learning a lot about what people like and what people dislike, what they're interested in and what they're not interested in. And what I think is starting to happen is we're getting these bubbles. There are a lot of people that I know who are Democrats who really don't think that. They think that, protesters are just out there innocently protesting and they're getting attacked. That's not true. The people who are clashing are people who've been clashing. So when they just say the word protesters, it's too much of a blanketed statement because the protesters aren't doing nothing. But Antifa is out there doing something, and that's what they are designed to do. Now, I do always wonder, when are we going to get Black Lives Matter as an organization, the leaders or whatnot, to come out and denounce the acts of Antifa because they're making Black Lives Matter look bad? And right as I was really, really starting to contemplate that, I see the video in Rochester, New York, and they got Black Lives Matter flags, shirts, apparel. And again, I don't know if that makes you an actual member. I don't even know if you can be an actual member or how that actually works out. But what I'm saying is that puts a negative connotation on Black Lives Matter as a group. So if that's not something that they want, then when are the leaders going to come out and say, you know what, this is not what we want, this isn't what we're trying to do? Now, if they don't do that, it would lead me to believe that that is the actions that they want to see, but they're just not putting their name on front of it directly. It's almost like when something happens, let's say a foreign invader comes or let's say an act of terror, and something happens and you get like 20 different groups claiming responsibility. It's because they all are okay with what happened. And so the groups that denounce it, they're probably not okay with what happened, or at least want to have some plausible deniability. But in this situation, it seems like they don't denounce it and let it perpetuate as if Black Lives Matter is just being attacked. Okay, and so, and I'm not taking any of the onus off of the far right-wing groups, because what I do notice is they've been clashing again forever. But in this particular situation, and since George Floyd on out, one action is causing a reaction. And just from where I'm sitting and just being honest, when you're out there doing certain things is going to make the patriotic people, or the people who look at protecting property as being patriotic, loving the flag and the country or things like that. They look at that as being patriotic. That is going to bring them people out, because you're literally going against what they believe. All right. Like, for example, when you'll see an evangelical group, and the evangelical group will be protesting against, let's say, trans reading books, library books in a library, right? Well, the only reason that they're having this clash, the only reason that they will have a battle or argument or a debate is because it's two separate ideologies. It's two separate ideologies. One ideology believes that this should not be done, and the other ideology believes that this is the way that the world is going. This is the way that the world is moving to. Accept it. But those are the different ideologies, and those bring that clash that we have been seeing. And so that's just an example of, again, that's a far right. Well, that's a left and a right topic. Again, these are wedge issues. These are wedge issues. In one of the videos, I was cracking up laughing. They were in Portland. All these guys are in the street. You can't even tell what side is what. You hear a horn, and all of a sudden it looked like a mosh pit. They was at it. They was on it. Quick. Fighting. Pow, pow, pow. And so again, when I look at this stuff, I'll be honest with you guys, I don't feel like this is my problem. I don't feel like this is my issue. Personally, I'm not far right. I'm not far left. I fall in the middle. There's some things on the right I like. There's some things on the left that I like. But when I'm looking at these long, protracted battles that they're trying to make like these things are just spurring up, these things are brand new, that's a lie, y'all. That ain't the truth. You a lie, and the truth ain't in you. You a lie, and the truth ain't in you. All right, you guys, look. So then, too, move on from that. Now, I want to talk about this whole Bob Woodward thing. I've had some time to think about it. Bob Woodward, again, the guy who helped bring down Nixon, Deep Throat, and that is not a sexual pejorative. That is literally. I'm not trying to turn you off. I'm not trying to turn you on. But that is literally, that was one of the famed titles that went along with that era with Nixon and Bob Woodward and Bernstein, and they had, they put some things out there, and Woodward is known. He is known for snitching on the presidents and telling what they're doing wrong, right? So Donald Trump went on to tell Woodward on a recording, if you haven't heard it for yourself, maybe I'll try to come back later and post it in the link here or in the description. So Donald Trump is literally telling Bob Woodward that he knows, and I'm paraphrasing, but he knows that COVID is worse than what he's making it, but he's downplaying it. Now, just to be honest, what I noticed is when I was watching the first few clips, and when they were talking about it, they said, when he said, and I'm purposely downplaying it, and they stopped it. But after that, he says, because I don't want people to panic. And so that's my thing. Now, I understand that we are always stifled for information because they don't know the response. They don't want people to panic. They don't want people looking into things. And so in a sense, I kind of understand that, but in another essence, I don't, especially if lives are on the line. So I understand not making people panic, but then disarming them by telling them that, you don't need a mask. It's a hoax. So if you really feel like it's a hoax, that is completely the opposite of making people panic. That is making them relax so much to now they're in danger because they're listening to the president. Bob Woodward, I think he's a jerk too for holding on to that kind of information until his book came out, but that's capitalism. That's capitalism. That is the system in which we live. And a journalist's job is to report news, report truthful news, I would hope. So now, do you have to do that in a certain time? I would say with information that, because now people are saying this many people dead, there's hundreds of thousands of people dead. I would think that he did have some type of responsibility to go ahead and put that out there. But I was talking to my buddy yesterday, and he said, well, what would have happened if he would have? It would have already been gone. It's more politically expedient, and it has more of a effect by releasing it now. That October surprise, baby, is close, right? And so I'm looking at these things and these different variations of things, but I still think that Bob Woodward, he put his money, his pocketbook over truth and morality. And when I say truth, the truth is by omission, by not telling people what was really going on. With all that being said, I do, of course, wonder how many other people in government knew, because it's very, very, very hard for me to believe that Donald Trump was the only person in government that knew, Republican and Democrat. I do remember Nancy Pelosi telling people to come down to San Francisco, to Chinatown, and this is after the coronavirus warning. This was after people knew about it. She wanted to spur business because business in Chinatown was sinking because people were already afraid of the Wuhan virus, coronavirus, right? So these people know about it because that is their origin. That's where they are from. That's where they weeples are. And so at that time, Nancy Pelosi went down, and it's on the news. You can check it yourself. You don't need Snopes to fact check. You can fact check this yourself. So she goes down there and does a video. She tells everybody everything is safe. Everything is safe. Come on down. But at this time, other politicians were saying it's not safe. The CDC was saying, I don't know about this. The WHO, the World Health Organization, was saying, hey, slow down, we have a problem. I remember doing shows in the morning on the radio, and we were reporting about the problems in Wuhan and spreading throughout China. And at the same time, Nancy Pelosi said, come on down. And she's not Bob Barker. And so it makes me wonder how many of them knew and how many of them were irresponsible. But again, I cannot put the onus on her the same as I could put on him, because it is his job. It is his job. I think a president's job is also how you communicate with people and how you make them feel. And so I understand the not panicking part, but again, when you disarm people so much to where you may be putting people in danger, then that's the bad part, because then you have to back up. But look, but even worse, this is my thing. Why in the hell would anybody in their right mind tell Bob Woodward anything that may be perceived as negative or bad? Why? Is he not smart? Is he an idiot? What's going on, you guys? What the hell? What the hell? Why would that's like committing a crime and then getting on the phone with the police officer that you know is a police officer, right? This isn't a question. You see his badge. You've seen him apprehend people. You've seen car 54 in his driveway. And you know what he does is arrest people for doing the stuff that you do. And what do you decide to do? Accept a phone call from him, say that he could write a book about you, and then proceed to tell him all of your crimes. How smart is that? How smart is that? How smart is that? Another friend of mine said it's three-dimensional chess. Well, in every chess game, you can still get checkmated. You can still get checkmated. And something that I noticed is, I don't know if it's even going to actually harm him. I know a lot of people who are like, hey, we already knew he was downplaying it. And again, that was the prevalent news for a long time, how he's downplaying it. We've heard it for months and months on end, so this isn't anything new, but it is confirmation for the people who were saying that he was downplaying it. So now that makes them look like truth tellers and make him look like a liar. That's another reason why I don't think he handled it correctly. He didn't handle it correctly, and I don't know if he's ready. It don't seem like it. And like I said, you running your mouth to Bob Woodward, man, you really do feel like you are above reproach, and nobody's really above reproach. You can get touched, especially if you are in the position of Donald Trump. You have alienated yourself from the FBI, the CIA, the Supreme Court. You even talk bad about them. Every different branch of government. You have slammed. And then you get on the phone with Bob Woodward, and run your mouth about something that you obviously should have kept in-house. Now, again, I hear Trump supporters saying, no, we understand. What do you expect him to do? Tell everybody, hey, we're about to die in 2 days. Well, I don't know. You didn't have to necessarily say that. There were people saying that and making it like that, which I do think was a vast overgeneralization. Vast. But don't make it like it don't matter whatsoever, you dig? Don't make it like it don't matter whatsoever, you dig? Because it does matter. It does matter. And inflection and the way you portray things are very, very important. And loose lips sink ships, man. Loose lips sink ships. He's like, who was that on the couch? That was Bobby Brown, I think, was on the couch, and Cat Stacks was taking pictures of him. This is how people get caught. You know what I'm saying? And being in your 70s, it would seem as if you would know some of these things. Ding dong. You would know some of these things. But that's there nor there. I digress on that. We still got some people in here. You guys still got to post. What's going on? What's going on with you guys? Who in this thing today? I see 3 people liked it. I just liked it too. Like, can I get the other can I get some love? Can a brother get some love? Just a little bit. I don't want it all. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Hey, you guys, I want to talk to censorship. Censorship. Facebook is known. YouTube is known for censorship. Do you guys think that censorship is good or bad? I'll be honest with you. I think it's bad. I think shutting people down because you don't like what they say is bad. Now, I understand that we get misinformation and we get false information and it gets fed to us. I get it. I dig it. I get it. But I do think at one point in time, we do have to be capable or be held responsible to look through things for ourselves. Because the thing about it is when you censor people or when you censor stuff, it's easy to lead people in the wrong direction, or it's easy to create the narrative. For example, on Facebook, there may be someone and they'll say, well, I don't think that this really happened, right? And let's say they're wrong. If it goes against the community guidelines, they'll block that person. But I think that you should have your freedom of expression. But I do understand this is a private company. But when you are shutting down people's freedom of expression, it almost feels like people are being coalesced in a certain direction. People are kind of being told what to believe, especially if you always censor the counter to whatever narrative is being pushed. All right. And I've noticed that a lot. A friend of mine, he sent me a message today, and he was censored on Facebook for one word. It was a curse word, but he didn't spell the word correctly. He even incorrectly spelled the word on purpose. And that made me think. I say, so, well, you can't say this, but you can say a real curse word. And you can't say this, but I see women on Facebook damn near nude, sometimes all the way nude. And that's okay. But when it comes down to what people say, that is being censored. Louis Farrakhan, Alex Jones, there's a whole bunch of people who have been censored to the point to where their message has been stifled. Now, what that makes me think is, well, you know, I should have the right and I should have the ability to decide whether or not I want to listen to these people. I don't think that I need Facebook, Instagram, an algorithm telling me who or who I should not be able to listen to. And that's where we're getting to. And see, I don't think people understand what happens. Like, example, if I talk a lot about, you know, pro-black issues, or I'm always quoting Malcolm X or things like this, and, you know, Stokely Carmichael or H. Rap Brown, and I'm really, really like revolutionary, right? What'll happen is you'll see your views go down. You'll see your notifications stop going out. You will be effectively throttled. Throttled means that the algorithm won't put out your stuff like it would otherwise. So you can be censored without even know you're being censored, but it's there. That's called a shadow ban. And shadow banning is something that is happening pervasively. It's you can see it. There's articles about it. They will ban and block people and not even shadow ban people by the thousands. They will literally purge people because their opinions are in conflict with who? With who? There are some people who believe that, you know, that the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, the things that he says is 165% true. And so how do you fact check somebody's belief? How do you fact check ideology? And then you censor people based on what the popular narrative is. Like, how do you decide who to censor? And I've noticed it a lot more now that the Rona has been going on. There's certain words that you can't say. If you do a video or if you do something and you're trying to run data and try to get to the bottom of some numbers, they'll block you. You cannot talk about it, right? And that's what I'm saying. It seems like it's stifling independent thought, and it's only leading you where people want you to go. And in my opinion, my very humble opinion, that's dangerous. That's dangerous, especially when you are in no control of the things that you are seeing and hearing, and you are being led in a certain direction. Censorship. What you guys think about the censorship piece, y'all? What you guys think about the censorship piece? Would you say, what are they fighting for? What's supposed to be the change? Oh, so it's back to Black Lives Matter. What are they fighting for? Well, Black Lives Matter as an organization in the beginning were supposed to be fighting for black men shot by police, right? The disparity. But what I have noticed as time has gone on is Black Lives Matter, they protest everything they don't like. A lot of the protests don't got nothing to do with black men getting shot by police at all. And so at this point in time, it seems like they are just trying to, they're trying to accomplish a far left ideology. That's what they want to do. They want to topple the government. And I understand there's a lot of people that want to topple the government. I ain't mad at you. My thing is how you do it. How do you do it? And in my opinion, there is no toppling a government when we stay confined to establishment politics. Establishment politics, meaning that the old establishment, the old way of doing things, is still the pervasive power in government. So you can do whatever you want. Let's say you topple, see, that's the thing. Let's say you topple the right. Well, you still got to topple the neocons, which are, the neoliberals on the other side, who have very much similar ideologies. They just put a different letter in front of their names. Oh, if you don't think that's the case, let's look at what happens if there's a third party candidate that's getting any noise, that's kicking up any dust, the two parties get together and do what they got to do to get rid of that person together. They come together when they want to come together. They just not going to come together for you. So in my opinion, let's say you do topple one side of the government, you're still going to have the same problems because that establishment lies in the other side as well. Establishment politics is my biggest fear when it comes to politics. People want you to be deathly afraid of Donald Trump alone solely, which I don't understand because he's one person with limited power. We have three equal branches of government. Donald Trump is not all three branches. And so if he is getting away with things, well, what the hell is the other two branches doing? We're supposed to have checks and balances. And so if he's getting away with things, that means, well, if the checks and balances aren't in place, that's because they're establishment people. They're establishment people. And at this point in time, it is very easy it's easy to point to the bull in a china shop. It's very easy to say, look, it's him. It's easy to do that when you're not in power. But when you take a step back and you look at the totality of things, both parties end up doing a lot of the same things. I would not be 1% surprised if Democrats were in power when COVID came, if we had the same exact results we have now. Nobody was prepared for it. And so I do think it is very easy to armchair quarterback and say, look it. But when you look at all of their suggestions and the timing of it, it's all the same. It's all the same. And so for me, that's the way I look at it. I look at politics as something that needs to be toppled. We need to let these two parties know that, you guys can't just use us like that. And again, personally, I'm not deathly afraid of Donald Trump. I'm no more afraid of Donald Trump than I am of Joe Biden. I'm more afraid of the establishment politics. I'll be honest with you, when it comes down to establishment politics, I might be a little bit more afraid of Joe Biden. And that's not me saying that, I adore Donald Trump. No, I think with Donald Trump, I think he does a lot of very dumb things. I think he is not sensitive to people. I don't think that he understands how to communicate with people, how to understand people. To me, he's very classist. He leans into racism, tweeting out somebody saying white power. All right. And then again, when you look on the other side, I understand Donald Trump does all this stuff. But then again, Joe Biden was with segregationists. And Strom Thurmond was his main man. And so you see what I mean? So he worshiped and avowed racists, worshiped him. And so when we talk about these things, like to me, these people are very one and the same. They're not that different. They're not that different. I think one of them will put on more of an act, which is Joe Biden. I think Joe Biden is putting on an act. Donald Trump is less of an actor. He's just going to be brutally upfront in your face, and he's going to try to manipulate at the same time. Now, Joe Biden is going to try to manipulate, but he's going to smile at you when he manipulates. And so that's why I say when you boil it down, they're pretty close to the same people. You can't tell me one racist thing Donald Trump has done that Joe Biden hasn't matched and surpassed. And so when I talk about establishment politics, that is my biggest fear. Not neither one of these two human beings, not either one of these two men that only have limited power. Now, I understand that the president of the United States is considered to be the most powerful person in the world. Granted. But they still have checks and balances. And the reason that the checks and balances fail is because they agree with them anyway. Again, now the things that they don't agree on are going to be ideological things. They're going to be, again, battles of ideology. You're going to get the abortion again. You're going to get the continuation of more gay rights. You're going to get, these are the issues. These are the differences between them. But the things that are the same are who they are beholden to. They are beholden to the biggest donor. The biggest donor wins. The most money, you get what you want. And it's just like this. In politics, if somebody gives you an exorbitant amount of money, you owe them a favor. And not only do you owe them a favor, now that you know they'll give you some money, you're going to do what it takes so they'll give you money again. Legacy donors buy legacy politicians. Again, legacy donors buy legacy politicians. It's the way it works. You can't do anything about it. That's why money is so pervasive in politics. And now, every now and then, we do see the candidate with the lesser of the money win, but that's not happening the majority of the time, and that takes a groundswell from the people. But when it comes down to things like this, and I give this analogy, I say politics is like this. You got two people on each side of the table, left and right. Then you got Joe Schmo Public right in front of them. Joe Schmo Public has a bunch of money. Now, I want the money, I'm on the right, and you want the money, you're on the left. Now, we're both in the government, so we're going to figure out a way. We're going to take the money. But the real argument is, who's going to take the blame? Who's going to take the blame? Because we are obviously doing something that the people aren't going to vibe with. The people aren't going to like this. And since I got to get reelected, I'm blaming you. And since you got to get reelected, you're going to blame me. And then that's the battle going forward. Now, when it comes down to money and spending money and contracts, again, they might have different priorities. So if you're on the left, it might be more toward green and renewable and things like that, which I think are all good. But when you get companies like Solyndra that get hundreds of millions of dollars and they just flop, and they got the money in the first place due to favoritism, that's exact same as the right will do for fossil fuels. and different companies that they deal with. So these people, that's what I'm saying. All of it is based on ideology, but when you boil it down past the ideology to the people, these are people who will throw their mother in front of a bus to get reelected. They will do anything they can to stay in close proximity to power. Anything. That's politics. That's politics 101 and 102 and 103. And we are at the point in time, in my humble opinion, where it is time to move beyond party politics, establishment politics. To me, I'm always fascinated when I see people talk about politics, or I see people talk about politicians, and they only talk about one side. Only. That lets me know that is the jersey that you wear, and that's the team that you play for. I think that as individuals, we should not be afraid to call out both sides. Right is right, wrong is wrong, whoever it is. I think the danger of only calling out people when they're wrong, when you don't like them, that gives way for the people that you do like to do the same behaviors, and other people be surprised by it because it's never called out. Because it's never called out. You dig? So that's my little thoughts on that, you guys. I want to talk about something going on in the podcasting world. Joe Budden, not Joe Buttons, there is no S. Joe Budden. I guess he's done with his deal over there. It was Spotify, if I'm not mistaken. And ever since that, he let people know he was done with that deal and he got some bigger things coming. He wants to be independent. Ever since then, ever since he said that, he has had a black cloud over his head. Ex-girlfriends coming out saying that he beat him, drug him down the street by their weave. Another woman say, "Hey Joe, you used to push me down the stairs." In fact, what she did, Santana did, she jumped online. No, she records him on a phone call, and in the phone call, she gets to talking about him pushing her down the stairs. So he get on the phone and he trying to boo it up with her like, "Oh baby, yeah, I miss you, boo boo, I miss you." And she like, yeah, you remember that time you pushed me down the stairs? And right there and then he check up like, "Oh, this ain't what I'm saying. This is going left. So that tape end up getting released. Now they're coming out talking about pedophilia. I guess he did. Okay, how do I put this? You know how you milk a cow? He did it to a dog. I ain't do it. I'm just telling you what happened. I ain't do it. Joe Budden milked a dog. Is that descriptive enough? And he said it, I guess, on a podcast and wrote it in a magazine. But all of these things are coming down on his head right when he decides that he wants to leave a company and go independent. So I want to know, are these things true? Or what about the timing? Are they coming out now that he's making a big move? And is this the crab in the bucket? Even though crabs don't belong in the bucket, I really don't like that analogy, but is that what we're saying? Or is Joe just a dirtbag? Is he just a dirtbag? Because if he's just a dirtbag, how is he still getting these deals? Because I'm sure this stuff isn't a secret. I'm sure these things aren't a secret. Again, the thing about milking the dog is in public. He said it. Now, I never heard it until recently, but apparently people who follow him closely will tell you, no, he said it in the magazine. He said it on the show. And what Joe Budden is trying to do as far as business, I understand it. I understand it. He has been in a deal that has not been the most advantageous deal in his opinion. Okay, now Spotify brought over Joe Budden's show, in my opinion, and even just doing this and paying attention behind the scenes, little more than in front of the scenes. Joe Budden, when he got into podcasting, when they picked up his show, nobody really knew the metrics. Nobody knew how to count the money. Nobody knew what is a stream worth, right? And since he did that show, they started making so much money to where they started putting a price on it. So now the company you work for is like, well, this is how much a stream is worth. And in Joe's opinion, he was like, well, who came up with that? You? Who came up with that? You? And then he's looking at his deal And then he looks at the fact that, they did so good, it opened up Spotify? It opened up their eyes to future revenue. So then they started bringing other people on. They get Joe Rogan, the biggest podcaster in the world, if I'm not mistaken, millions of followers. And they give him, $100 million or something like that? $100 million. So you, Joe Budden, and you started this thing. You originated this gangster shit. And so now you're doing your podcast and it's growing, and your meeting numbers and your passing numbers, and you're blowing past the competition. You're doing great. Now the company is expanding, and they're spending hundreds and hundreds of $1 million on expanding based on what you're doing, on your upward trajectory. And then when it comes down to renegotiate, I heard Joe ask for something like $250 million. Now that's a lot. And I know when you bargain, you go high, you try to get what you want, get in the middle. But they weren't hearing him. He also said for that amount of money, or for what they were offering him, they wanted complete ownership of every single thing he did, even the things that he would do outside of the podcast, including his partners on the podcast. And he wanted to maintain his content and to be able to, direct his own flow. And that is something that I completely understand, because it even bothers me always putting things on YouTube. Like, this is a zero. There's really not too much in it, right? And so I understand somebody wanting to take their content, especially if you have built up the fans, and use your content and cut out the middleman. What did Nipsey say? All money in, no money out. Cut out the middleman. And so it seems essentially to me that's what Joe Budden is trying to do. Cut out the middleman. But ever since the scissors came out and things done got cut, man, this man's life, it seems like it is plagued with a black cloud. Now, I want to know, do you guys think that this is happening because of his Spotify deal? Tahiri coming out saying that he beat her, and saying Santana recorded the man talking about, hey, you remember when you pushed me down the stairs? And again, the same thing I was wondering about Donald Trump, I'm wondering about him. You got to watch who you talking to. You talking to your ex-girlfriend. I think the mother of your child, if I'm not mistaken. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't he just up and leave her for another woman? And now, you're reaching a pinnacle, you're reaching a peak in your career. You don't think that she's going to record you? You don't think this? Come on, Joe. And then the thing about milking the dog, I don't know what to say about that. What is that? What is that when you deal in animals? There's a particular name for that. It's evading my mind right now, but hey, man, I don't know. But I applaud Joe in one way, because I do think it takes a certain amount of tenacity. It does take a certain amount of balls to move away from guaranteed money to try to do things on your own. Now, when you do things on your own, you do get a certain amount of freedom, but there's also a certain amount of extra work that goes along with it. And again, that security is gone. Now, I don't know Joe's pockets, but I would hope that he has made good investments, and he probably could float until things get better. Now, on the other hand, I was reading that Charlemagne, and of course, they're going back and forth because, one person is coming up, everybody gotta hate. So Charlemagne is going back and forth with Joe and throwing dirt on each other's name or whatnot. But Charlemagne signed a deal with iHeartRadio to where he is now, he's going to have his own podcast, not his own one podcast, but a group of podcasts. It's almost akin to Universal Records and them having a subsidiary. Or how about this? Cash Money and Young Money. So Charlemagne is Young Money, right? Which became a big thing. But Charlemagne is Young Money because he's working for iHeart, but he got a deal with iHeart to where he's going to curate, however you say it, these different podcasts. And so now people are looking in and say, well, what's the difference and why are they going at it? Well, there's two different models. What Charlemagne is doing is he's still working for someone. So you still have that comfort. even though working for someone, you can get that ass fired at any point in time, but he still has a certain amount of comfort. Joe Budden is going out on his own, so you don't have that same comfort, right? And I'm not saying one is good for somebody and the other one is bad for somebody. I think everything is up to the individual person. But I do think it takes more cojones to go ahead and try to start your own thing. That's just my opinion. I don't know about your opinion. That is just my opinion. It's just my opinion, you guys. In this podcast thing, I was thinking about this the other day. I say, well, I could do a video and I could put it out and say 1,000 people watch it. They could watch it for free, right? Now, what good does that do the creator, the person that put the podcast out, or the person who, the content creator? Now, if there's no way to monetize off of those people watching, what good does it do? If you're putting out a whole bunch of videos and it's not increasing your following and stuff like that, then what good does it do? The reason you want to increase your following is because your following is almost like your resume. You could take it to other places and say, ha, look what I got. I got 150,000 people. And that's like, oh, well, good. You qualify for this job. That's how it goes. But if you are putting out all this content and it's not upping what people would call your Q score, your Q rating, if you're an actor or something like that, your popularity score, that is going to open you up to other things, it's not doing you any good. So it hit me. Bong. If I put out a video and I have 2,000 people watch it for free, what good does that do? Now, if I put out a video and I have 5 people watch it, but all 5 people pay $5 a piece for it, well, hell, I made $25. And with that $25, I could spend $12.50 of it into producing more things. And so it makes me look at the model and wonder if podcasting and doing stuff like that, if it's becoming so saturated with people that trying to reach for everybody is becoming more and more difficult. And based on your content and based on the things that you talk about, you can't be on there being all radical and stuff like that because you'll be throttled. I've been throttled. You will be throttled. So you have these other impediments that get in front of you. And so taking control of your own stuff, having your own platform, and that's what I'm going to be very interested in seeing, is what platform are they going to use to distribute their podcasts? Because right now the platforms that are being used to distribute podcasts are what? We got YouTube, we got Apple, we got Spotify, we got Podcaster, we got different apps and things of that nature. But those are all owned by someone else. So to do your own podcast and distribute it yourself, it seems as if you would have to build an entity for distribution. And so I can't wait to see if they build an entity for distribution. I do think that people would follow it because they already got a buzz, they already got a name. And I do think it's time for that. I think it's time for these things because when Joe Rogan, and this actually ties in to the censorship. So since Joe Rogan went over to Spotify, there's been some complaints. Because Joe Rogan is known to talk to everybody. He is known to have conversations with people that are agreeable and disagreeable. Don't matter who you are, political spectrum, color, weight, size, height, or whatever. Now, I've never really gotten too much into the Joe Rogan podcast. All these Joes, Joe Biden, Joe Button, and Joe Rogan. All of them start with a J and their last name ends with the N, if I'm not mistaken. Rogan, Biden, Button. So maybe that's why I'm getting confused. But either way it goes, so I've never been too into his podcast because I don't jive with his personality. I'm not saying it's not a good podcast. Whatever you like, you love, right? But when he went over to Spotify, a lot of his, I guess what you would say, more extreme interviews were taken down. Milo Yiannopoulos, that guy, who else? Alex Jones. There were other people who he had done podcasts with, who he had done shows with, and those shows were taken down. And again, that's the censorship piece. But again, what do you say when you're in someone else's home? So if they are paying you and you're an employee of them, then essentially you have to do what they say. or lose your job, lose your money. And I think he's making $100 and something million. I don't think he's going to just readily throw that away. But when you own your own stuff, then those decisions change drastically. Well, I don't want to take it down. And then you got to deal with the consequences. Well, is that going to lose me money? Is it going to net me money? Is it not going to make a difference at all? But when we are doing things and you're doing things for these major conglomerates, then, you got to kind of play ball sometimes. And that's what we are seeing going on in the podcasting world. There are certain things that you can't say without your show getting blocked. There are certain phrases that you can't say without it being picked up in the algorithm and you getting throttled more and more and more and more. So these are things that we are seeing. And so, yeah, you guys, it's crazy because this whole podcasting space, the whole content space, it's very interesting because it does seem as if that is the way of the world. That's the way that we are moving and progressing, right? But who's going to be able to capitalize on it? And I heard somebody say, well, what the internet does is it removes the gatekeeper. And I would like to say, no, it don't. The algorithm is still a gatekeeper. Because if you're saying stuff that's going to get you throttled and not going to get you out, then you're still being held back. You still have somebody who or something who is in control of what you are trying to do. You dig? And so we see that all the time, you guys. We see that all the time. What else we got out here? What else we got on the board? Karina told me earlier, the pastors are out here killing their wives or girlfriends, or some pastor came back and killed his lady or killed his brother or cousin's lady 3 months later. John Gray out here, sexing it up for brisket. John Gray out here getting caught. And this is my thing. I understand he's a man. I understand he's a male. I understand. I'm not going to make it like preachers aren't human. I'm not going to make it like they are not made of flesh and blood. They absolutely are. I understand that. But at the same time, you do have to have some type of moral equivalency to where you're like, maybe I should stop doing this because I have so many people watching me and following my tutelage to do right. Now you a youngster, you trying to get into the church or whatnot, and you see your pastor keep doing his thing, you might say to yourself, well, hey, what's good for the goose is good for all the cows. So, you might decide, the pastor out there doing his thing for a pork chop. Why can't I do my thing for a pork chop? And Gray is out there doing his thing for a damn pork chop, no doubt about it. This guy is, I think he needs a divorce. I think he just needs to go ahead and leave, man. Players play. You want to be a player, go ahead. I don't think people in church nowadays, the way things go, I don't think he'd lose any parishioners if he was just like, look, I'm not in a happy marriage and I want to be free. It seems like, he wants somebody who's going to cook for him. John Gray wants somebody who's going to flip a pancake or two and make him some brisket. He don't want no more DiGiorno's. And ladies, this could be a lesson learned to you too. This should be a lesson learned to you too. If you don't cook for your man, he may cheat. He may be trying to pimp for pasta. Who knows? If you got your man out there pimping for pasta, make the man a plate. Make the man a plate. And again, and I'm not saying it's right what he's doing. And at the same time, I see both sides of it. I went a little bit hard on John Gray. And the only reason is because, again, he's leading so many people. So many people look up to him for spiritual advice, to be fed spiritually. And that's the only reason, because, people do things. Men cheat, women cheat. Men be out there getting their thing on all the time. Men always lie on their wives and girlfriends and say how terrible they are on the pursuit of the booty. But I really, really believe that man isn't being fed right. Because he was talking about food with a passion. Hey, I'm going to shoot you the money for that brisket. It's Taco Tuesday, baby. It's Taco Tuesday. and he don't want no DiGiorno. But yeah, John Gray, man, go ahead, sit down, get yourself right. Do what you need to do. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're apologizing every other week. What you apologizing for, man? You don't mean it. You don't mean it. You don't mean it. But this is what I don't get either. Marriages are very, very funny, very, very fickle. Could it be because I'm listening to what he was complaining about as far as his wife? John Gray is a very wealthy man, if I'm not mistaken. So why not hire a cook, a chef? You know, why not do nothing like that if your wife, if that's not what she do, if she don't cook? So I wonder if it's more to it, because it just seems like dude just don't want to be married. You know what I mean? Maybe he got married and then all the fame hit him, and then, you know, he got up there and, yes, in the name, in the precious name, give me your money. And he found out he was good at it, and then when he found out he was good at it, maybe he started getting a bunch of women. I don't know. Tubby Smith, he looks to me like, you know, he might not have got all the girls coming up, but it makes me wonder, how is he getting these girls now, because he looked the same. She give me money when I'm in need. Yeah, she's a trifling friend indeed. Oh, she's a gold digger way over town that digs on me. Let me sip that water. Nice and refreshing. Nice and refreshing. So yeah, you know, man, it's crazy out here, man. Pastors shooting up. And look, if you watching, it was Betty Boos, you know something about that? The pastor that shot his wife. Who did he shoot? His wife, his girlfriend? What'd you say? Because he had to keep buying Ferrari. Look, if I'm his wife, I would enjoy him cheating because you get Ferraris. But at the same time, how many Ferraris can you drive at the same time? You dig? You know, this is my thing too. Let me ask you guys this. Do you guys think, now I don't know. Just in the realm of possibility, what if they have an agreement? What if baby like, man, you go ahead and do that. You go ahead and get you a girl that's gonna give you shrimp and grits, and you can lick them off her backside. You do whatever you want to do, John. I just need you to keep the money right. I need you to keep these Lamborghinis coming, but don't embarrass me. Don't embarrass me. Don't you embarrass me. What's her name? Aventer? Don't you embarrass me, John. Do you guys think that's a possibility? Nah, I don't think that's what's going on, because if that what was going on, he wouldn't have to paint her out to look like a bad person. He wouldn't have to make her seem like the soggiest piece of bread in the bag. He wouldn't have to do that. I mean, again, we know wealthy men, men with money can do things that broke men can't. Just keep it 100. Keep it 1,000. And not only is he wealthy, he's popular. So I don't think he had to lie to get other women. He could have said, yeah, I'm married, but I choose you. I'd rather be with you. Yeah. For right now. And I think a lot of women still would have said, okay. So that's why I say I think there's really, really something intrinsically wrong with his marriage, but he lets it continue. He let it continue. Then he get out there on them apology tours. So I don't know, man. I don't really know what's cracking with old John's Mackin. I don't know what's cracking with old John's Mackin. Hey, you know what I wanted to do? Before I get out of here, I was saying earlier at the top, I was talking about these posts that I posted this week. And in the posts, there were two posts. One of Black Lives Matter in Rochester, and they was tearing stuff up. And then there was one of the Proud Boys, or people on the far right, chasing down Black Lives Matter and you know, giving them the business, right? And it wasn't a lot of them. It was two guys from Black Lives Matter. And again, I be wanting to know how people are getting these classifications. Like, because you say it, that means that's what you are. But the results of the video, let me know something. It let me know that people are really into seeing people in Black Lives Matter get their ass kicked. That's what I noticed. But I want to read you guys. I want to read you guys some of these comments because I think sometimes we miss things that are going on because we only look in our sphere. We don't look outside of what we know. And sometimes we just rely on confirmation bias. And so anybody that confirms our bias, that's who we listen to and that's who we like. Well, it's 160 comments. I'm not going to read all 160 comments. 22,000 views. I want to read a couple of these, all right? Oh, after 3 months, now the cops finally do their job? Where were you when Antifa / Black Lives Mattering was rioting and looting and burning? All right. And that one has 12 replies to it. All right. And one of the replies, it says they were beating the crap out of innocent bystanders. All right. And then let me go back. Let me go to another one. It says, let me see. It says, so they squeal when chased down, talk tough when dudes are taken in handcuffs. Why am I not surprised? LOL. They immediately started crying. Next comment, it says, Black Lives Matter and Antifa, the communist groups that loudly claim perpetual victimhood and oppression, whistle oppression and victimizing innocent, while oppressing and victimizing innocent bystanders with their violence, looting, arson, murder, rape, and anarchy. And what I am noticing, I don't notice any of these people calling them protesters. And again, and I'm just looking at things because sometimes you got to take a peek on the other side of the blind so you can see what's going on. And what I'm getting here is, again, this isn't about race. These people weren't talking about race. It says those guys are not Proud Boys. None of them are wearing Pelly Ellis twin type polo t-shirts, black without the shirt. You are not a Proud Boy. Okay, so they're not a Proud Boy. Somebody's saying that the people. That's why I say far right. They're not the Proud Boys. All right. Then you get somebody says what goes around comes around. All right, after that it says, yes, as much as I want to believe the cops are just trying to simmer things down, where are they when Antifa and Black Lives Matter are doing this? Different places, different people, in different times, I know. But it's really discouraging when the cops cuff the one dude who tries to stop the first dude from going further. See, the common thread on this post, on this video, are people overwhelmingly agreeing with the actions that are being taken, the vigilante actions that are being taken against Black Lives Matter. And the only reason that I think is very important that we understand this is so you understand that there's another side to which you may believe, because there's a lot of people who believe that, it's very isolated groups of people who don't like Black Lives Matter. Well, I'm telling you this, if you're a Democrat and you want to see Joe Biden get elected, you got to pay attention to this. You have to pay attention to this, because the way that these videos track, the amount of comments that they generate, is definitely passion behind it. People are definitely either afraid, frustrated, or confused. But either way it go, if you're a Democrat, you need to get in front of it. Stop acting like this stuff doesn't exist. The longer you act like it doesn't exist, you get answers like this. Funny how the cops only show up when it's time to arrest the conservatives. Now, I find that funny, and I find that as a false statement, because I've seen conservative groups do all kind of stuff and not get arrested. We see conservative groups do stuff all the time. I showed a video the other day in one of my videos where it was a conservative group versus Antifa, and they fought in the middle of the streets. They clashed. On guard! Boom! Right? And so, I guess who you feel gets away with the most things may be the person that you're paying attention to the most. All right? And then another comment that says, why are you running? You all wanted to play. Let's play. And so you're getting these people who consider themselves the good old salt to the earth Americans. And they are looking at this as retaliation for things that they have been seeing going on for the last 4 or 5 months, right? And that's what I'm saying. I think it's very, very important to realize how people are thinking. People outside of your lexicon, people outside of your core group of people that give each other opinions, because it's out there, and this is how you get surprised. All right, it says, it always amazes me that the police constantly arrest the wrong people. And what I'm trying to say is, I'm going in order. I'm not skipping comments, but you're not getting too many comments contrary to how these people believe. Now, this is YouTube. People don't do that because you could easily throw a rock and hide your hand. So if somebody wanted to refute what these people were saying, it would be there. Black Lives Matter got a taste of their own medicine. And so what I'm trying to say again, if you are a Democrat and you really want to see your person get elected, I would advise you to tell them, I know y'all know them, I know you know them, pick up the phone and say, hey, you guys stop avoiding this, because this will be the reason that you lose, and you're going to blame people like me. They're going to say, Tyrell, Trump won because you didn't want to act like Joe Biden was wonderful. I hate you. No, you guys need to pay attention to what's going on, all right? And before I get out of here, I'm going to move to this other video that I wanted people to that I wanted to talk about. All right, now this is the opposite. So instead of this time, it isn't the Proud Boys or the militia type or the far right type. You know, it isn't them that's perpetuating I don't want to say violence, because I don't see any like literal violence in this next video, but it's not them perpetuating the what do you want to call it? The mayhem. It's not them perpetuating the mayhem. This time it's Black Lives Matter. So I want you guys to get a little get a little bit of a little taste of those comments. And it's funny, this one only got 3,500 views, right? The other one is up to 20-something thousand. All right. And so now, and it's the same sort of sentiment. So it's Black Lives Matter in Rochester, New York. The first comment, 100% terrorist. All right. The next comment, and this is progress. For them, let some Trump rally people do this, and the whole world will say white supremacists are racially attacking people at restaurants. I think that's true. The next person says, yep, this is why Democrats will lose. That's what I'm trying to tell them. That's what I'm trying to tell them. And look, and I don't got a dog in a fight. I am anti-establishment, which means neither one of them are getting my vote. I'm going to vote just for neither one of them. And I know people don't like that, but I love you anyway. All right. It says Marxists at their best. You think rioting for freedom, but you're just rioting for slavery. And the sad part is you don't even see that. All right, it says, how can Democrats call this peaceful protest? And that's what I'm trying to say. And that's what I was saying earlier, to go ahead and separate it. Don't call it a protest when you see them tearing stuff up. You know that's not a protest. Go ahead and call it out. Call it out as a riot. Don't be afraid to say Antifa. And the funniest part about Antifa, this is what I don't get about the Democrats. Antifa will turn on you too. It's an ideology. Antifa is not about a political party. I forget what state it was where the mayor got out and he wanted to start marching with the people, and they turned on him. they turned on him. You remember in Minnesota, that mayor got out there and he came and I think he shook his security, and he was walking by himself and protesting with the people. They put him on the spot and made him look like a fool and made him leave. Piss off, little ant. And he did. Took off with his tail in between his legs. You dig what I'm saying? And so, so hey, it is what it is, you guys. It is what it is. So I did want to take some time and give people a second to hear things that maybe you don't hear, because again, when you peruse through the different media sources and sites and stuff, they're not giving you the full story on this. Again, when it comes down to these protests are one thing, but when it comes down to the clash, it's the far left and the far right. That's all it is, y'all. It's the far left and the far right. All right, let me see. Scroll up about the other pastors. Oh, you said something about the other pastors? I heard the story. The brother fought the sister's husband. The sister husband was the pastor. Then he threatened he would kill his sister and did it 3 months later. Woo! Is that allegedly? Or that's what happened? So wait a minute. So the pastor got in a fight with his brother, and he told him that he was going to kill his brother's wife, and he came back and killed his wife 3 months later. Why did he want to kill his wife? Because he got in a fight with his brother. Did she not make some good grits for John Gray or something? That sounds like a John Gray problem. That brisket was not good enough. I got to kill you. Allegedly. Is that what happened? Am I understanding this correctly, Betty Boos? Oh dang, I heard that story. So let me know if I'm hearing that correctly. Because I don't know. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's extra crazy, you guys. Hey, it's a crazy time right now. Oh yeah, today is 9/11. 9/11. They always say, never forget. And I understand that sentiment, but I would like to carry that sentiment to some other things that should never be forgotten either. It shouldn't be forgotten either. Black Wall Street should never be forgotten. But that doesn't mean it should be an impediment to me never try again. You dig? You see what I'm talking about? So yeah, you guys, I think I'm about to go ahead and wind it down and get on up out of here. Go find me some vittles. Family today went to go eat, didn't bring me nothing, just had me hungry, just looking all sucked up. All sucked up. Made me eat chili dogs. Baby, you're cold-blooded. Yeah? Cold-blooded. What Rick James said, cold-blooded. Look, before I leave, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this before I get on up out of here, because it's something on my mind. It's something that, it happened to me the other day, and how do you put this? So something that bothers me are people who are when people are in power or in management at jobs, right? And they think just because I got moved up to manager, I'm better than everybody else, right? So the other day I was at Walmart. Standing there masked up, barely could breathe. Cause I'm claustrophobic. I can't even sleep with the blankets over my head, right? So I'm at Walmart. Line is long, they close early, trying to get everybody up out of there. And I don't understand either. They're closing early. Does COVID? Is it not as bad after 8? Is that what I'm trying to figure that out? Why do they close early, for one? Because it seems like you're still increasing the chances of people getting it, because everybody got to come at the same time now. You reduce the hours, which means you're going to increase the people who are in there in a short amount of hours that you're open. That's here nor there. That's here nor there. That's not the big deal, right? Now, so the thing is this. So I'm standing in line, and the line is long. It's a long line in Walmart. It's almost like one of those Christmas lines. In Christmas time, where they'll have 1,000 people shopping and have 2 lines open. It was one of those lines, and all I had was one little thing that I was trying to get and go on my merry way. So now we standing in this line, and I see a manager. He's just standing there just talking to the security guard from outside, just shooting the shit. having a wonderful old time, just yucking it out. Yuck, 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 yuck. Just yucking it up. And all these people are waiting in line. And you could tell that the cashier, she was overwhelmed. And so while she's visibly overwhelmed, and there's a visible line, the line is backed up into the damn near the underwear section. You know, I'm in line and looking at Fruit of the Loom at the same time. You know, I didn't know whether I should try on some drawers or what. So the line is long, and then I look at the manager, and when he looked back at me, I said, "Hey, man, why don't you open another line?" He says, "Because I'm the manager." I said, "That's exactly why you should open up another line. You're the manager. You're going to sit here and let this lady be overwhelmed so you could sit there and yuck it up with the security guard. You taking look, you have the security guard no longer doing his job. And is your job to yuck it up with the security guard?" And he looked at me and he took a deep breath and I said, "Well, you can keep breathing deep, but you need to go ahead and open up a line." He says, "But I'm the manager." I said, "You need to manage that cash register over there so you could break this line up so we could get up out of here." And again, remember, everybody's 6 feet apart, line going damn near to the draw section. Again, I'm like, I might as well get these Hanes while I'm over here, you dig? And this guy, and of course, he doesn't open up another register. What he does is he goes and gets on the phone and calls somebody else to come open up a register. And what I noticed was the person that he called to open up the register, as they're walking up, you can see the frustration in their face. And when they get there, they look at him like, "I have all this work to do back there." And I looked at him, I said, "Man, you ain't shit." Instead of you helping, you're going to call somebody else from doing something that was busy because you're the manager. Man, you need to learn how to be a better manager. Sometime as a manager or sometime as a person in charge, you got to do what you got to do. If I'm managing people that's digging holes, well, damn it, if everybody dropped their shovel, then I got to get in there and dig. What the hell is wrong with these people? What is wrong with these people? I'm the manager. Yeah, you take your ass over there and you go manage that cash register. Isn't that what good managers do? Isn't that what people do? I guess not. What's up, Life with Jasmine, Mr. Fat Pat? What's going on with you? KG Style, what's good with you? But yeah, so that's what I noticed. I was like, hey, man, come on. But that is a pet peeve of mine, is people who feel like once they make it to a certain position that they are now better than the other people that they are surrounded by. Just because you the manager, fool, don't mean that you can't open a register. And now every time I go back to that same Walmart, that fool, he don't want to look at me. He don't want to look at me because he know that I'm going to say what need to be said. What's going on with you, baby Brian? And so then look, when I get to the front of the line, the cashier looked at me and she said, thank you. Everybody wants to tell him that. And I said, well, y'all should tell him. Y'all should tell him. And I guess maybe that's why I don't work in the corporate world, because it's certain things that I can't take in the corporate world. Certain things that I can't take, right? What's up, Shelly MC? So look, Karina come today and she like, this guy is just riding us. He's just riding us, you know. He's giving us more work than we could do. This isn't even in our job description. Right? And so I'm saying, well, if it's not in your job description and he wants it to get done, that would have been my last day at work, because I would have said, well, if you need this done and you're not doing it, pick up the phone and do it, asshole. That's what I would have said personally, and that would have been my last day at work. So I think that's why I don't work in the corporate world, because I can't take it. I can't take people telling me stuff that's clearly stupid. I cannot take a manager that won't open up a cash register and help the people that he see needs help because he feel like he's the manager. I couldn't do it, y'all. That is my corporate problem. That's why I can't do it. I don't like bitch assness on any level. What's up with you, Frank? What's up? Hey, Shelly. So yeah, you guys, look, I'm glad that you guys got to tune in over on YouTube. We just cracked it open right here on Instagram. Today was the first day in the podcast studio. Well, in this studio, we have 2 studios. Today was the first day here. It's real nice, real nice. I loved it. Hope that you guys had a good time. I'm going to be back on the radio next week. I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be doing that. And I'm going to be getting fat because that's what I've been doing lately. But hey, you guys, look. If you a manager out there, I'm talking to you, whoever you are, this camera, if you a manager out there and you think that you are too good to help your employees, you a jerk. You a jerk. And a lot of these people know that the employees won't say nothing because they need their job. And so they'll treat people bad because they need their job. If you are an employee and you got a manager who ain't shit, outthink them. Outthink them. Sometimes it's better to show people better than you could tell them. Or do what I would do. At least do this. At least do this. Have somebody like me come in there and just tell their ass off. just have one of your homies come in there and tell their ass off. And if you work at Walmart, if you are a manager at Walmart or Target, it's really Walmart. It's really Walmart I got the bone to pick with. If you are a manager at Walmart and you are letting people stand in these lines that look like Christmas lines, you know the Christmas line that wrap all the way around the damn store, and you don't want to help, shame on you. Shame on you. Hey, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I'm going to go ahead and do what it do. Royal Intent, what's going on with you? I'm going to go do what it do somewhere and does what it does. Hey, you guys, look. It's a lot of hate going on in the world. You don't got to hate back. Give people some love. Give out some love. Give out some smiles. Give out some positive vibes, positive energy. Everything don't always have to be, I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. Because we see so much hate to where sometimes we get filled up with hate and we don't even realize that it's there. It's there. Show some people some love. And most of all, show me some love. This is Soapbox Heroes, you guys. I'll catch you guys later. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Oh, we got 4 people on Instagram. Let me fall out. Woo! Thank you, Jesus. So we out of here, you guys. Peace, peace, love, and catch you later.